This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
You know, Marcia and I are coming up this next weekend will be our wedding anniversary. 162 years, something like that. When Marcia and I decided, when we started considering marriage, now I knew I wanted to marry her long before she knew that it was God's will, because I was so much holier and spiritual. Plus, she's hot, you know. So, but we started studying. We started studying the Bible and just looking. Is this really what we want? Is this really what God wants? Is this the right thing to do? And one of the questions that I learned to ask myself was, how do you know that she's God's will for you? And when I've talked with young people who are thinking about getting married, I've asked that question many, many times. How do you know that this person is God's will for you? But that's only half of the question. The other half of the question is how do you know that you're God's will for that person? You need to be able to answer that. You need to be able to say, oh, I know that I'm God's will for this person because da-da-da-da-da-da. And you know what? I had trouble coming up with an answer for that. I mean, it was, well, you know, I couldn't just very well say to God, well, look at me. Why wouldn't I be God's will for her, you know? Suddenly it didn't make sense, you know. And we had to go through this process of really determining what God's will was for our lives. And you know, now that I look at our lives, and we've been through an awful lot, you know, and God has been so good to us. He's been so gracious. He's blessed us. There have been good times, bad times, difficult times. There have been sweet times. There have been bitter times. We've gone through all of that, as any married couple goes through. But as I look at it, I realize that God knew best. And I look at that relationship that we have right now, and I think, I don't know of any other woman that I've ever known that would be a better wife for me. There have been times when I've wondered if maybe I made a mistake. There have been times when she's wondered if she didn't make a mistake. Many times that she's wondered that. But you know, as I look at it and I realize this is what God did. Now, the physical evidence, there were times when I looked at her and I went, whoa, this is awesome. You know, this is the right thing to do, because look at her. But beyond that, I began to realize that God had a plan. I don't know of any other woman in the world who could have put up with me for this long. You know, I really don't. I know all of you women are there going, oh, I made a mistake. I should have married Dan. I will tell you right now, Marcia can convince you that you shouldn't have. It was just something that God was up to. God was just preparing, and as He prepared me and He prepared her, He put two people together for His purpose and His plan. That was a truth that was beyond the physical reality in our lives. And it still is.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.